You're listening to the Masonic Light Podcast. Starring Pete Ruggieri, Larry Maris, and Jason Lewis. This podcast is not endorsed by any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous ramblings of the hosts are their own. So sit back and enjoy some Masonic conversation without pretension. And now, here's your hosts, Pete, Larry, and Jason.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Masonic Light Podcast, episode 29.
29.
Hey, you know what's really special? We are all here tonight.
It's very rare.
It's
and we're
rare.
back in Monarch Studios.
Yes, we are. That's been rare lately, too.
That's the one thing I kept using up at Masonicon. People would walk around and they see my pins on the table for Masonic Light Podcast. And obviously, they've never heard of it. So they're like, and there was like 3 other quality podcasts there, like actually doing shit. And I was like, we are the best sounding podcast. We have the best microphones. And that's how I sold it.
Fair.
I said they may have better talent, better ideas, better everything, but ours is the most listenable because we actually paid $30 for a microphone instead of talking across Google Hangouts.
And you feed the producer with Swedish fish.
But like the serious, way too serious Masons were all like horrified by just my actions as usual. And the guys that
represent Pete, we love you, buddy.
The guys that have the personality, they liked it.
Oh, here we are.
Yeah. So okay, we got a lot to cover. Jason,
Yeah.
you have anything going on the past couple weeks Masonically? Some exciting things I hear.
Well, it's working a lot up at the consistory, and just putting the hours in up there. It's reunion time. Reunion's next week, and it's due season. So, but I have not been around because of work at the Goose and Gridiron, and I was also out of town when you were up in Masonicon, and yeah, so not really a lot of exciting stuff. Just work.
Jack, welcome back to the basement.
Dun, dun, dun.
You missed a week too. So what's happening with you Masonically?
Well, Masonically, I've been involved in a redecoration project for our lodge. So that's been taking a lot of bandwidth for me. We haven't got it. We haven't actually made the motion yet to spend the money, but it should come out very nice in the end.
What's on the plan? What's on the trestle board for the lodge?
The trestle board, table lodge this week, Tuesday.
I was being facetious.
Which I
I was
miss.
like, what's on the? What are you guys going to fix?
What is the plan to do?
What are you going to
All right,
fix?
So we're going
like
in,
physically on the real trestle
right.
board, not the Masonic
All right,
trestle board.
so the plan is to fix the basement, right? Because it's been referred to as the beige dungeon. And about in the late 70s, like 4 70-year-old men came in with 4 different shades of beige and did the basement up beige. It's just beige floor, beige walls, beige ceiling. It's beige. I came in there. I took one look at it and I said, "Rat's Keller. This has to be an old English pub, right? Or it's set up for it. It's going to be perfect." So we're gonna. That's going to be the motif. It should look very nice when it's all said and done. But last week, my big Masonic event was a very good friend of mine. You guys know that Ephrata Lodge goes down to this lodge in Maryland periodically.
Yes.
We've got a relationship. They come down. They come up. We go down. So my good friend Harvey Davidoff, who is a 5-time past master of that lodge.
Oh, good. Is it Quarryville?
He's finally got it right. Now, after 5 times, he's got it right. He got his 50-year award and was being roasted by the whole district, whatever. They meet in the Grand Lodge building in Maryland. So the Grand Master was there. A bunch of Grand Line officers were there. Grand Master was great. He was very, very down-to-earth guy. He got up and roasted Harvey with the rest of us. And it was very nice. So that was my Masonic event for the week. Nothing really out of the box, but it was a nice time. He's a good guy, and it was a pleasure to honor him while he's still, face up.
Brother Larry?
Lodge meeting last Tuesday. Long pause. That's either a helicopter flying over or... anyway. Want to start this over?
No, keep going. You're all right.
Keep going. Okay, Masonic. Yeah,
Larry, what did you have going on the past couple weeks?
lodge meeting last Tuesday.
How was that?
Goose and Gridiron. We had a nice crowd for the fact that the restaurant was closed. We ate donuts like every great police officer in the world. We had a table full of donuts.
Fritters.
Yes, apple fritters. Great day. Great day.
I can't tell you how sad I am that I wasn't there.
Yeah, you missed out. We had so damn many donuts left over. It was unreal. We could have fed the Salvation Army.
Did you go to fellowship night?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah, actually, I did. And we had a large crowd there as well. It was
Who was the party pooper that night? Who told everybody that their fundraising idea was stupid?
Probably you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. Yes. Yeah, we were going to sell tickets and lose $300-400. You're right. Yeah, and you stood up and made a speech.
So, right, I did. I made a big speech, and we'll cover that, because I think Jack, I'm on the same page as Jack with this fundraising thing now. He converted me to that we're not a charitable organization. We're an organization of charitable men.
There you go.
So
Yeah, it was a good speech, and actually, the whole audience turned after he did what he did. No one voted for it.
yeah. So I mean, I'll cover that now, and I'll cover Masonicon after the break.
Ooh.
Yes.
I thought of something. What I did, because I forgot. I've been away for a while. At the end of April, I went to the Kite and Key Lodge in Allentown, which is the traditional observance lodge out there. But it was also the official visitation of the Right Worshipful Deputy Grand Master S. Eugene Herritt, and it was quite the adventure. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have two, because of that, the two fellows I think you went with from New Mexico. Is that right?
The guys from New Mexico, yeah.
I interviewed them at the last Goose and Gridiron, actually, so I have that, which you can play later on. I'll give you that off my my recorder.
If you can figure out how to get it off the recorder.
Yeah, well, I know how to do it now. There is actually a memory card in there.
That magically wasn't there.
Yeah, it wasn't
I
there
used to
for
play the
years.
recorder in elementary school.
Yeah, and to our dear brother Larry Griffith, I do apologize. I made you go crazy looking for cords so that I could actually patch it into my laptop and send it over to Jason, electronically. And neither one of us realized that there was a memory card in the recorder.
We're a top shelf organization here.
Whoa,
that was the best sound effect ever.
What the heck was that?
So here's how I made everybody angry at, and I know all these people are our listeners and our friends. So I'll just
So you make him mad again?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So we were going to have this joint fundraiser with Lodge 43. They were going to sell pork barbecue sandwiches on First Friday, which is a little get together we have downtown. And
wait, you're the reason that didn't happen?
oh yeah,
It would have been nice if somebody from your lodge would have told us.
That's why we left you guys. Bad communication. That's why we're Lodge 476 and not 43. No, but the math was just not there. They were going to have it would have worked maybe if the guys would have cooked the pork themselves and they would have done it and volunteered the work. But they were going to pay a caterer to make up this thing. So now, if I think the most we could have made would have been $500. If we sold out, we would have made $500 and split it between the two lodges. But there was a huge chance that we're going to absolutely lose money on this event. So I just stood up and I'm like, so do we need the money? And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. When I was master in 2005, we had $800,000 in the bank. What do we need the money for? And you're like, nothing. It's for charity. Oh, what charity? The Dyslexic Center. Oh, you mean the Scottish Rites charity? And then they start looking at me again. I'm like, we don't have a charity. If you want to do the Scottish Rite charity, you're all Scottish Rite Masons. Just go there and do it with them. But so I was the bad guy, but I got everybody out of it, and I offered $100 if we didn't do it.
That was to be last Friday?
Yeah.
How was the weather last Friday?
It was raining his butt off.
I'm sorry. So what would have happened to that?
We would have lost about $1,000.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So somebody's got to be. I'm the bad dad. In the
what did you hear about that? What was the take at your lodge about it?
Well, no, we had this joint open house, and the masters got together and discussed the plan, who was going to do what, and it was just we didn't know. And not that I care that it wasn't there. I agree. What was frustrating is that we showed up and we're like, wait a minute, where's the food? Because 43 has been inviting people down. Come down and have some pork barbecue. Oops. I mean, right? Exactly.
Did anybody come down?
We had half a dozen people. We had.
We would have sold 6 sandwiches.
So you would have lost $987.
I understand what you're saying. And when I say half a dozen people, we had half a dozen non-Masons. There were probably another 15, 20 members that came down. And everybody came down. Oh, where's the pork barbecue? And I don't get me wrong, Pete. I understand the math. What I'm saying is,
math is hard.
That was a pretty rough no-look pass.
We've just established a schism between 43 and 476 on Lancaster now.
Can we leave again?
I don't think
can we edit this?
476 divided by 2.
You'll come crying back just like Andrew Hershey.
So Jack, this is my question on this one on the charity thing. Since we don't really have a charity for Blue Lodge, and we're going to feed people,
except the Blue Lodge,
right?
And its members and their widows and orphans.
Almoners Fund,
right. So I mean, I'm saying, like, if we're going to do something to feed people, why don't we just do a traditional community meal, and we cook and we feed people? Like, that's, we don't need to raise money to pay for things to feed people.
This particular one wasn't about raising money. If we would have broke even, it would have been fine. It was about having an open house.
I will say, the pancake breakfast on Saturday, our lodge hosted at the Masonic Center. I will say that Larry Hudson, our junior steward, am I right?
He's a
junior warden.
Junior warden. Thank you. The junior warden went out and contacted so many organizations, businesses. He got stuff from Kunzler Meats. He got things from giant supermarket chain. I mean,
and did he get anything from Walmart?
He did. Didn't you read? Yeah, there was something on Facebook.
And he still has it, I understand.
Yeah, Larry told me to go to Walmart, which is a treat any day, but especially right now when everybody's cashing their income tax checks. He said you have to go to the customer service desk at Walmart, and they have a $25 gift card for you. So I was 20th in line. I was the only one not cashing an income tax refund check. And I asked about this card, and they're like, they don't know anything about it. I told them who to talk to, so they called this lady in Human Resources. And then she'll be down 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So the shell game once again. I just bought all of the pancakes for the pancake breakfast, and
see, you wasted the opportunity, Pete, because at 40 minutes at Walmart, you could have had a whole album of people of Walmart snaps and snarky.
I will say I have brushed up on. I want to be a better citizen because I speak about 4 foreign languages now.
At that Walmart, yes.
So
anyway,
all right, let's take.
But there's a good point though. Those fundraisers, those food-based fundraisers and stuff are only successful really if you can either overcharge for them, or if you get all the ingredients donated.
And
if you
that's
can't get that
pretty
done,
much what he did.
Yeah. Right, we were just saying, like, hot dogs. Let's just, if somebody wants to grab you can't walk. Oh, that was the other question. Well, where are people going to eat these pork barbecue? Do you have tables set up outside? No. Well, they could carry them inside. So a stranger who doesn't know our building is going to.
3 years ago, we had a big one that was joint Lamberton 43, and it was a hit. But we hustled. It was in May, and we started planning in January. And really, I think the lack of success for this one is that the lodges were spread so thin. Everybody's, the amount of events have gone up, and the amount of people working them have gone down.
No, the number of people working them is the same.
Well, or less.
But it's the same.
It's the same people,
for all of the events, and they're just.
Well, we had the breakfast that following Saturday morning, so here we are going to do something on Friday night. Some of the same people, and yet we're setting up and preparing to have the breakfast there. I mean, I don't mean I wasn't part of it.
Yeah.
But they did a fantastic job. I think they made $600 or $700 of profit.
I took I took my little kid, and my wife came down. I mean, for the very first time, it was fine.
I saw your picture there.
Yeah, yes. It was a good time. Larry did an amazing job.
Yeah, he did. I
mean, Walmart.
And guess where the money went? To the Dyslexia Center. Our charity.
It's a good charity. It's a good charity, and maybe we should adopt them as our charity, but we can piggyback. But all right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and discuss more junk when I come back. You come back. Hey, welcome back. So I guess I'll talk now about Masonicon.
Where was Masonicon?
It was in Attleboro, Massachusetts, at Ezekiel Bates Lodge, and yeah, they had I think 40, 50 vendors there. They had a handful of speakers, a bunch of the more professional podcasts.
Okay.
I suppose.
What do you mean?
Absurdity, yeah. Offended.
Yeah, well,
I
I
resemble
mean,
that remark.
yeah. So we had that. They did a grotto ceremonial, which is going to be good to talk about because I know those guys listen. And then a tall cedar ceremonial, real quick, like super tall, like you're in that kind of a ceremonial.
That's how I joined the
So
shrine.
without giving too much away, how is that ceremonial different from our ridiculousness, other than they take it seriously?
Oh, you mean the grotto?
Grotto, yeah.
They actually used ours. I sent them a copy of our script,
Get out, really?
but even the guys that read it, only one guy, the guy that played His Majesty, the guy that plays the devil in the story, he's I forget his name, but he was the Tall Cedars district deputy, and he did it with lots of character and lots of flamboyance and made it like super fun.
Okay.
And all of the men in the room were cracking up. Pretty much everybody else from Nava Grotto just read it straight,
Played it straight.
and it was painful.
Yeah.
It was very painful.
Okay.
But
I have to get them down for ours.
yeah, I mean, it only works if you ham it up. Mm-hmm. But
I will never forget Andrew Sterling as.
the first time I saw Andrew
A
do it-
share.
Oh my God.
That was classic.
That just ruined me for ever.
I thought Andrew was the first gay Mason I've ever met.
It was kind of like when I saw Rocky Horror for the first time. Yeah.
what's going on? So
Anyway, Masonicon. So were there characters there? Was like Spider-Man there and stuff?
no, it would be really funny if people dressed up like the numbers 357, walked around, or just did some. Today's episode is brought to you by 357. And Glockenstein Slipper Company. So, yeah, but I was sitting between Ryan Flynn. So it's his great website, ryanjflynn.com. He's a Masonic artist.
Oh, I've seen his stuff.
Yeah, he
it's
does good
beautiful,
stuff.
yeah.
And he's real personable too. And I got a little interview that we're going to play here in a bit. I mean, like a minute. And then I'm going to have to Google her name really quick. But I also got an interview from a lady to my left who's a PhD.
Michelle Snyder.
Michelle Snyder. There you go.
If you read the script.
Nobody reads your notes, Larry. But Michelle Snyder is an expert in symbology. So she's pretty much like Dan Brown's. What was Tom Hanks' character's name in whatever? Robert Langdon.
Yeah, Robert Langdon.
Wow.
Robert Langdon. But yeah, she's really knowledgeable and
Roberta Langdon.
yes, and it'll be a really good interview if Larry can figure out how to contact her.
Yeah.
So
I can get all of it.
She sounded in the interview that I heard. She sounded like she would be fun for this group. She
yeah, well, I mean, I could tell how passionate she was
Right.
just by how she was talking, and she kept having like little rabbit holes that we could have followed. Like she'll mention something and
Is her expertise just Masonic symbology, or
no.
mythology and mythological history.
She
and all
is a
kinds of
true
crazy stuff.
symbologist.
Yes.
And she's done all kinds of other stuff too, like with children's books and
I saw in one of the things she had was comparative symbology, like symbols that repeat in different cultures at different times.
Gotcha.
which most of ours do.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys can
So
all
is she
talk
more
about.
like Laura Croft, or is she more like Robert Langdon?
Ooh, I'd say Robert Langdon, but nobody's like thrown her in the trunk of a car, as far as I know. Or
Driven her through the streets of Paris.
yes, I'm sure, but she has been to Paris, I believe.
I'm sure there's lots of symbols.
I think it's required when you get your PhD. You have to go to Paris.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
That's what the P's for.
You have to.
Is that what that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all clear. now.
Paris, Harvard, and Dallas Town.
Yeah, you have to
I
visit.
thought it was Rutgers. I don't know. Yeah.
All symbologists have to visit Mary Magdalene's tomb in the Louvre.
Louvre.
In the Louvre.
The Louvre.
Oh, so that was it. It was a fun time, but I'm glad it's over. It was 80-some degrees, so I wasn't selling a lot of scarves.
Wait, you got 80 degrees while you were there?
Yeah, I got in Providence, in New England, it was 80 degrees, and then I come home, and the past couple of days I've been selling mattresses outside in the tent, and it's been 50 degrees and rainy.
Yeah.
I should have been selling scarves.
Yeah.
Freeze warning tonight.
Oh, so Larry,
Yes.
I'm looking at your agenda, but I'm looking at the wrong side. So what else we have to talk about?
Fan mail, hate mail.
Well, yeah, get the fan mail, hate mail, basically. Did we ever check our email? Not our email, our
No, never.
our
I almost
We're so up to date.
I almost upchucked into the microphone here and there.
someone told me we have messages on our phone.
We'll have to dial into AOL, Larry.
One of them, Jeff Moyer particularly, and he said some pretty nasty things, but it's probably worth a play.
Jeff loves you.
Yeah, I have it, but just like Jeff Moyer, it's not very interesting.
Oh, man.
Oh, snap.
Well, we'll go into this.
I'm not in charge of the multimedia. That's Pete.
Okay.
He presses those buttons.
Well, see, I have no idea. I would not do it on it anyway. But we do love hearing from you. Let me get the point out. Even though we may not listen to the messages promptly, we do love hearing from you. You can send us an email at masoniclightpodcast@gmail.com, or you can call us and leave a message at area code 315-596-2766. That's 315-59-MASON. You can also make sure you can check out our website at masoniclight.com. And we do like hearing from people. We really do. And I promise you, as of today, we'll be a little bit more on the ball in retrieving our messages.
Don't lie to him.
Well, we retrieve them just fine. We just don't play them. Oh, well, let's take. Larry's giving me the time
finger
symbol. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay, so what do I say now?
I was just like, hey, this is Pete. I'm here at Masonicon. I'm with Michelle Snyder, the symbologist.
Correct.
Michelle, tell us about your background and what you write.
Well, around 2000, I decided that I had to do something besides teach little kids art, and I started to study symbolism, and I got very fascinated with both alchemy and Masonic symbolism, and done decades of research. So before my husband was even a Mason, I was studying the symbols of Masonry. Went to the University of Wales and did a post-grad research thesis on prehistoric symbols, and I find that most symbols that are used, especially by Masons, go way back in prehistory. Like the Tau,
Right.
which is a symbol for perfect vertical and perfect horizontal. It was used to signify the measurement of the elevation of a star from the horizon. And that's at least 5,000 to 6,000 BC.
Wow.
So lots of fun stuff like that. I've got several books out on symbology in context of history and how they were used and who made them. Symbology is a language. You have to interpret this language in context.
Is there a website where one of our listeners could go and just see
Yep.
all your stuff together?
Yep, you can go to whiteknightstudio.com, which is KNIGHT, as in the White Knight to the rescue, whiteknightstudio.com, and I also have a blog there where you can read some of the articles I write. I've also written several fairy tales and a trilogy, so those are the fun ones.
Also, what we'll probably like to do, we'll probably read something of yours.
Okay.
And then maybe sometime we can call you up and do an interview on the air.
That would be wonderful. I would love that.
I appreciate it.
Especially if you wear the shiny hat. This is like absolutely got to have the hat.
I'll either wear that or my ugly pyramid from Tall Cedars.
Either way, I like pyramids too.
Thanks.
Those are cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey everybody, this is Pete, and I'm here with Ryan. Ryan Flynn, accomplished Masonic artist. Ryan, tell us a little bit about your work.
I paint mostly a Renaissance style of oil painting, and I do everything from classic Masonic scenes to portraits of past masters, past grandmasters. Just trying to bring back the old style of art back into masonry.
Okay, so that's not Santa Claus up there.
That is not. That is Albert Pike.
Oh.
But we...
It's close.
Yeah, as Brian Simmons calls it, it's Masonic Claus.
Sounds good. That's how we roll it. That's how our interviews work. So where can people find you? What's your website?
Yeah, I have a website, ryanjflynn.com, and I do a lot of stuff on Facebook, so it's just Ryan Flynn Artist.
Sounds
Facebook.
Good. Well, we'll mix you into our horrible podcast, and we'll send you a link when we get it all done.
Yeah, I'll be sure to lose it.
Thanks, Ryan.
Welcome back, everybody. And I found the alleged clip that I didn't play. So here's the voicemail from brother Jeff Moyer. And Larry, I think you're going to be upset that you brought it up.
Yeah, Maris, this is Moyer calling. I know I'm a little bit behind, but I've just listened to episode 25. You're a mess. I believe the only on the payroll at Masonic Light Podcast is for 2 tax credits for mentally impaired and senior citizens. You remind me of an old past master. Yak, 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 you never listen. I think I'm going to stop coming to the Goose and Gridiron breakfasts. Bye.
So, a lot of love. A lot of love.
We're feeling it. Fraternal.
Oh, yeah.
See, you should have just let me, making fun of Jeff. But I played it. Now...
Well, you remember when I was on the cruise, you guys, our first year, probably our 3rd or 4th show, we had...
Our first year, last week? You mean
a year ago. You guys had Jeff Moyer on as a guest. I'm on a ship in the middle of the ocean, and I listened to the podcast. It was the worst podcast we ever did.
Not.
It was awful. It was terrible.
We didn't find ourselves yet. We were still asking him straight up serious questions.
It was unfunny. It wasn't bad. It was just not.
Obviously, he's got
to the depths that we've sunk to
right.
now. Yes,
he can obviously make fun of you and have fun.
Yes.
And I know when I got back or over there, I don't know if I said it, I said, "What the hell did you 2 guys do?" And I know probably upset Pete because he's been after me ever since, but no, he hasn't. So anyway, but it was, and actually it really, in all respect.
For God's sake, Larry, get it out. Wow.
It wasn't Jeff's fault.
Maybe Jeff's right.
I think Pete had a hangover.
Can we get a tax credit?
Get a tax credit? I don't know.
Can anybody claim you as a...
We have 0 income, so...
Oh, he puts the depends in independence. Oh, wow.
Okay, guys. Let's move on.
The hate mail is going to roll in on this one.
Good. Oh, yeah. Bring it on.
Yeah.
That worked for pretty much every politician. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You say something obnoxious, you get played everywhere. So that.
Well, in episode 27, I think we talked about ageism. So let's just stick.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
Larry. Yes.
Well, what we talked about there,
it's because you're incompetent, not because you're
exactly. That's what we're talking about. Correct.
What we talked about
incompetent.
There, we
incontinent.
Incontinent. Right.
Well, we talked.
Yeah.
What we talked about there, we took care of things, and everything was fine until just a while ago.
And then there was Moyer.
We took a step forward and 10 steps backward. We're getting it again.
That's how he does.
So remember, I gave you the phone number, 315-59 Mason.
Mason.
Call, leave a message. We'd like to hear from you.
And this episode's brought to you by Red Swedish Fish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man,
right.
sugar.
Jack, so let's just get into Jack's serious topic.
Wait, what?
Let's get into your serious topic today.
What serious topic?
Your news item.
Oh, that's my news item. All right. I mean, I can do it straight, or
you can do it silly or straight. It's a good story. We'll talk about it.
Brother Cronkite, and then we can.
Then we'll talk about it sort of seriously.
All right. So Masonic news. There we go.
Good news, everyone!
Masonic Light News. News not fit to print.
It was recently announced that the Grand Lodge of New York had suspended recognition of the Grand Lodge of Scotland. And while that may make many a Mason wonder why, the answer will make your head spin. According to popular Masonic blogger Chris Hodap of Freemasons for Dummies fame, it seems that back in 2008, there was a group of Masons from the District of Columbia who chartered a new lodge in the country of Lebanon. It should be noted that lodges in Lebanon have been chartered there by Scotland, France, England, Turkey, the Ottoman Empire, Mrs. Butterworth, Colonel Sanders, and apparently the Grand Lodge of New York, who claims jurisdiction over that tiny country. But wait, we're talking about Scotland. It seems several members of the New York lodges were involved in this DC chartered lodge and were, as a result, expelled by the Grand Lodge of New York. These same men, no longer Masons, gained admission to an Italian lodge, and through that affiliation were ultimately recognized by the Grand Lodge of Scotland. Fast forward to now, and while the Grand Lodge of Scotland happily recognizes the disputed lodge in Lebanon, they refuse to honor the expulsion of the previously expelled New Yorkers. The Grand Lodge of New York declared the situation, unacceptable, and drops the Masonic hammer. Thus, the fraternity demonstrates once more how unlikely it is that Freemasons actually rule the world. You can find details of this craziness at freemasonsfordummies.blogspot.com. And that's the Masonic news. So mote it was.
So,
All right, so let me pull back. I actually pulled a lot of this off of Chris Hodap's blogspot. And on it, he posts the actual document from the Grand Lodge of New York with all the whereases and heretofores and all that kind of regular nonsense. And it does appear that these guys were legitimately expelled from New York Masonic affiliation, which should render them unacceptable in any Grand Lodge anywhere.
If properly known.
If properly known, not of any lodge in the whole world, right? So what's happened is through a backdoor process, and we think it was through a lodge in Italy, these guys came to be recognized by the Grand Lodge of Scotland, so that what New York is really objecting to isn't this lodge in Lebanon. It's these three guys who they've expelled. And they expect Scotland to recognize that expulsion and no longer have affiliation with that lodge, which is in violation with blah, 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 blah. So you've got DC, and that's in 2008. You got Washington, you've got Italy, you've got Scotland, you've got New York. But basically the beef right here is between New York and Scotland, because Scotland refuses to recognize that these guys are expelled. So from my read, it's legit, it's petty, but it's real. And the biggest aspect of this that I can see is jurisdictional respect, right? So,
my question to you, and we talked about this earlier, was this a particular Grand Lodge in Italy who sanctioned this?
That's where I'm a little fuzzy, and it's not clear on the blog spot.
Yeah, because I know there's like the Garibaldi Lodge in New York. That's an American lodge.
There are 6 Grand Lodges.
There's a whole bunch of Grand Lodges in Italy, just like there are in France, and each one has its own.
We
whatever.
have like 50 in the United States.
Not all of them.
But the back door was in Italy.
But apparently, from what I got off of the blog spot, apparently the back door was in Italy somewhere, and then they came to be recognized somewhere else. But
There's a joke there somewhere.
We're just like let that one go.
Yeah, we're just sorry. I heard it after I said it. I'm sorry. So what's really interesting is here's a little country in the middle of the Middle East of about 4 million people, which is just a couple of 100,000 more than Oregon. And they've got like 7 Grand Lodges, and they're chartered in a half a dozen different countries all over the world. They're like terrifically active in Masonry in a whole lot of various aspects. Nobody quite knows where the jurisdictional lines are. And I mean, think about all the crossed borders and cross contamination of cities and towns and stuff. It's really crazy that there should be that much masonry in a little country like Lebanon.
Agreed. And it does sound petty. But you know, we had, you know, national officers arguing about fez height a few years back. So, I mean, I guess this is a little bit less petty.
It's fez envy is what
Yeah,
they like.
yeah. But you know, I don't have an answer.
I don't know. It went out. I mean, the first place I saw it was on Facebook, and I was like, "What is that?" Because really. And then as I dug deeper into it, and I started to recognize that it's jurisdictional, right? And there's nothing more sacrosanct in Freemasonry, or at least there wasn't, until you get to this topic of jurisdiction. And if you are the jurisdiction, if you're the Grand Lodge having jurisdiction, there's no higher authority, right? So that's it.
I think what Freemasonry needs is a useless body, kind of like the United Nations, that can write tersely written letters on behalf of.
Oh, don't make me hurt you.
Because I mean, you know,
I thought
there's so many chiefs here. Every jurisdiction has their Grand Master, and there's, you know, rightfully. I mean, I like it, but there's nobody for them to report to and to put the smack down on them.
I thought the United Grand Lodge of England was our mother lodge, and we should report to her.
No,
we're
wrong.
We're just claiming the 300 years for tourism.
No, but what that is
the Grand Lodge of England didn't even start 300 years ago. They merged. It was the Provincial Grand Lodge in 1717. Wasn't even the one now. It's a lie.
Well, it was the premier Grand Lodge. But anyway,
sorry. Yeah.
The point though is that Mother Lodge, that UGLE, is sort of like the hub of the wheel, and it doesn't have supremacy over any of the other Grand Lodges, but it seems like we all look there for mutual recognition, and that's what New York is doing. Is they're just, you know, they're waving to the referee saying, "Hey, wait a minute, we're calling foul here because this other guy is not playing by the same rules that we've all agreed to play to." And I gotta say, if you read the document. And it is there on HODAP's blog post. It's pretty clear. But, you know, 3 times we told you people that these guys are not good guys and that we threw them out. And 3 times you've ignored us. So we're throwing the hammer down. This is it. So that's what that little bleep that you heard in the Masonic world.
And what does it really affect? Travel? Like New York Masons can't go to Scotland?
But the Grand Lodge of New York scheduled their annual trip to Edinburgh.
I'm sure they're going to get a warm welcome.
Yeah, how about that? What?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so, hi, we're here.
I think it means if you're a New York Mason recognized by the Grand Lodge of New York, you can't. We being Pennsylvanians, we're not part of that.
It should mean that. I think what it means on a higher level is that they won't receive each other's grand officers. Mm-hmm. I think if you're a Mason and you're going there and you want to say hello to somebody, I think that's like sort of, I'm not going to say it's under the radar, but I think that's still, you know, okay, because probably the guys in the local lodges aren't going to know about it anyway. But it definitely means the formal, you know, separation, and it's a suspension. It's not, they haven't revoked it. They've just suspended it for the time being until they can get this problem.
And explain to me the Lebanon thing again. Having a hard time getting my head around that.
Yeah, right.
Were these 3 guys instrumental in chartering lodge?
They were instrumental in chartering that lodge. They were because the Grand Lodge of New York claimed jurisdiction over Lebanon. The original dispute in 2008 was between New York and D.C. They worked it out. The lodge is still there, so they worked out the recognition issue between them. But apparently, these 3 guys, for whatever reason, at that time or thereabouts, were expelled from the Grand Lodge of New York.
So basically, if they were charter members of a lodge in Lebanon when they were technically not Masons, then that lodge opened clandestinely as well.
I don't know the details well enough to go there.
Gotcha.
But they were somehow involved in the origin of that particular lodge, and that pissed off New York. New York threw them out. They went through a back door and regained recognition through some other lodge. And when they got called out, they were, everybody just kind of turned the other cheek because it's all about the dues, right?
And just so you
all
know,
about the dues.
Just so you know, listeners, Pete got the flask out.
Yeah, thank you to Navagrado for selling me a new Fez case from Turin and Company, which has a double flask insert in the very center of the Fez case.
So jealous.
Yes, it's
Now
I have to provide liquor.
But there's a hole around the flask. Even what goes in the center of that?
There's two halves,
Right.
and when you put them together,
Listen to this with your ears.
there's room for a shot glass.
Oh, okay, got it.
So if you're not a heathen like me and just chugging
Knocking
straight from
it
the
back.
flask, yeah, you could put a shot glass in there
Okay.
to be more
That's genius.
cultured as you're drinking clandestinely out of your Fez case. I'm gonna have to start carrying my Shrine Fez in there just so Grotto doesn't get any worse of a name. Oh, the funniest thing. So I do have one more aside about Masonicon. A little bit late. 5 or 6 brothers came up to me and were like, "So last year when you were here with Jake, you guys really pissed off the Grand Master of Rhode Island." And I'm like, "Really?" They just were not. It was no worse than
Blue Lodge Grandmaster or Grotto?
Blue Lodge Grandmaster.
Oops.
Yeah, but I mean, and I think when I said something like how many lodges are in the state, and I referenced it being kind of like a district deputy. Yeah. So I apologize to the state of Rhode Island and its Masonic officers, past and present.
Producers of this podcast are not responsible for the ridiculous comments of its host.
Well, that's 2 states you've ticked off.
Yeah.
The other one being Ohio.
Ohio. Yeah, they're burning effigies of you in Ohio right now, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and Ohio is a pretty tough state to avoid if you want to go west from Pennsylvania. I mean, I think I could get by with not going to Rhode Island.
Hey, when I sold guitars, I had to travel to Ohio. It's not that fun.
We did hear from the gentleman that was representing, who I think he was running for office or something like that from Grotto, or someone from Ohio that you.
Yeah, so Prophet Dave Korb is running for Supreme Captain of the Guard.
Yes.
The job that Victor has this year. And he's a great fellow, but he's kind of got that Midwestern kind of dry sense of humor, even tempered, and of course us East Coasters are just a little bit off. Like, telling him the best part of Ohio is the Sbarro at the rest area. But he did come back and say today or the other day on Facebook, he says, "We don't put our interstates through the best part of the state." So, I mean, okay. So maybe if we leak it off the interstate.
That's solid right there.
He's got a sense of humor.
That's
He really
solid.
does. Yeah.
All right.
That's
So-
Dave Korb.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get Dave on the line one of these days to talk about. He could tell us how great Ohio is, and maybe we can find somebody from Rhode Island to talk up the tourism, the Convention Visitors Bureau of Rhode Island can come on our podcast. All right, we'll take another break and we'll come back with a little bit more shenanigans. Larry's blah blah blah.
What he said.
Roll tape.
You're about to enter
Corpora Obscura.
the realm of weird fraternal organization.
Leave your Freemasonry behind.
Prepare to meet druids, caliphs, and wild creatures.
Knock thrice.
And enter at your own risk.
In the world of old fraternal groups, Sometimes we know a lot, and sometimes only a little. Today on Corpora Obscura, we take a dive into a small southern benevolent society that is mostly lost to time. Based in Florida, the Lily White Security Benevolent Association was composed of African Americans of both genders who worked to provide better living conditions and opportunities to their members. On a flyer printed in the mid-20th century, they claimed to be the largest benevolent society in the state of Florida. The flyer goes on to proclaim the strength of the organization. Over 650 units in Florida and Georgia, all of them built on Christian principles. An educational fund to aid young preachers to secure theological training. An educational fund to aid high school graduates to secure college training. Our strong and solvent financial condition with an asset structure of nearly $1 million. 25,000 members in the senior and junior departments. 3 beautiful temples worth over $80,000, one of which is by all odds the most commodious and largest owned by blacks south of Jacksonville. They were bought for cash and never have been mortgaged. Our well-appointed 33-bed hospital is worth over $150,000. It was built for cash and has never been mortgaged. Our major officers under surety bond with $1 million company. Our financial assistance, exceeding $60,000 to preachers and churches and charitable donations and more than $50,000 to sick and afflicted. We give full-time employment to men and women as clerks, maids, nurses, cooks, laundresses, nurses, aides, and janitors. The Lily Whites own $15,000 in war bonds, 5 apartments on rent, and 31 vacant lots in the city of Tampa. The Lily White Hospital has been completely air-conditioned at a cost of $10,000 for the convenience and comfort of our members. The Lily White Rest Haven was built and furnished for $60,000 and also, you guessed it, has never been mortgaged. It has 20 beds for Lily Whites who have come to advanced age or suffered an incurable accident. It is also completely air-conditioned. The Lily White Society is rich in love and charity and has no regrets for the past, no apologies for the present, nor fears for the future, as the Lord is on our side. All of these features sound really impressive, right? Unfortunately, the association did not last long and is thought to now be extinct. Want to know more? You can learn about historic fraternal groups and the effect they had on America by visiting and supporting the J.H. Rathbone Museum, located in Lafayette, Indiana, and on the web at www.jhrathbonemuseum.org.
Hey, you just heard Corpus Obscurum. I said it properly, correct?
Yep.
Corpus Obscurum with Seth Anthony. Thank you, Seth. So, Larry, you didn't get to say a dirty word.
No, I didn't. I'm looking at the script that we try to follow here, and I realized I didn't even spell it properly.
What do you guys have going on coming up in the next couple weeks?
Stated meeting on Wednesday. We have 3 extra meetings this month. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 degrees this month.
Going through the long way, the normal way.
We have 4 fellow craft, 3 entered apprentice, 6, but I think a couple guys have canceled. But we have max 6 one-day class. These are still holdovers from the one-day class in October that weren't able to make it.
Oh, wow.
But they're all like high-ranking officials in their profession.
Right.
That's a lot.
Damn.
Larry, do you have anything going on?
No, actually, I got 2 weeks of solitude and peace, so no, I'm nothing really.
Mr. Harley, anything going on?
I'm missing everything in my Blue Lodge this week. Our regular stated meetings tomorrow, and we have an extra meeting on Thursday, and I will miss both of those, which makes me sad. But
Jeez.
I'm off on business, so
Hey, it's important.
shall not interfere with my usual vocations.
Oh, as usual, I forgot something.
Sure.
Hang on, let me get the date.
Grotto's early this month, 21st.
Yeah, because it's on a holiday. Would have been on the holiday weekend.
Whatever the 3rd Tuesday, I guess that's the 16th. So it would be the day after this episode's out. I installed as junior warden in Lodge Perfection.
Ooh. You know what the bonus? It's election day, too.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
It's a primary, so there'll be all kinds of civilians watching you in your tuxedo.
Because I have to leave at 6 in the morning for work and don't get home until 5.
You just have to wear your tuxedo all day.
No, I want to vote. I want to vote locally.
Yeah, it's kind of there's a important school board decision for my township that's weighing heavily on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, we have 4 open council men/women in the city.
Does that pay?
Council?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think it does.
I don't know.
Jack, anything else? That's it. Jason, because he interrupted you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry.
No, I'm
I have I have 2 exciting things this week. Wednesday, if any of you guys want to go, I'm going to a tequila tasting at my brother's bar.
Biological brother?
No, brother,
gotcha.
Masonic brother owns Brendy's Tavern, 449 West Lemon Street. So you guys can come to the bar, but this event will already be over by the time you're hearing this.
But I'm sure they wouldn't mind if you came.
Right, if you came and actually paid for tequila, they would like. It's an Irish bar owned by an Italian.
Larry, take a note. Charge Brendy's for a sponsor.
Yeah, the owner's half Italian, half Puerto Rican. He owns an Irish bar, and they're having a tequila tasting.
Does he own Hildy's too?
No, that's another fine, upstanding citizen.
Yeah. Well, Hildy's is on my block, and then Brendy's is a block away.
So I have an exciting weekend.
That's cool.
Tall Cedars National Convention.
Oh, God.
Wildwood, New Jersey.
Wow.
Oh.
So
why are you going?
Because I'm the junior deputy Grand Tall Cedar.
All right.
So
is Mrs. Monarch on?
Yes, we're excited. Do we go?
You driving down with Larry and his wife?
No. We're driving down ourselves just because we like our privacy.
They are sharing a room with Larry and his wife.
So here's the deal. We're the York Forest and the Lancaster Forest. We go together. We share a hospitality room, and we get a whole motel to ourselves. So like our 2 forests have the Royal Hawaiian Motel or something.
Wildwood's fun.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know Wildwood Crest is an old-timey little beach town, and they've really tried to keep it so there's little tiny drive-up mom-and-pop motels instead of big skyscraper condos and things.
And Tall Cedars fits in perfectly with that motif.
I'm going to interrupt again, but I thought we were going to talk about High 12. You went to High 12, didn't you?
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
Larry,
I did.
he said earlier in the week,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I have exciting stuff to talk about. So much exciting stuff.
I forgot about High 12. Totally. I'll tell you, I went to High 12.
That's why they call it High 12.
High 12. I went there.
Long-term loss of short-term.
And frankly, it's going to be a while before. Now, I don't want to, if any, which I doubt, I don't think we have many listeners at High 12. Maybe 2 or 3.
You have the second vice president sitting across from you.
Yeah, but I look at that audience, there's no way, okay? And it was a terrible meeting. It was not good.
Why?
Gilbert and Sullivan, that's all I need to say. That was the program.
Okay.
That was the program.
Okay.
That was the program. A history of Gilbert and Sullivan. I mean, it was well done by a music teacher.
I am the
retired.
very model of a modern Major General.
Yes, you are.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the speaker, he spoke at our lodge many times. I went through York Rite with him. He's super knowledgeable about music.
Very, very, very knowledgeable. One of the most knowledgeable people. Yeah, he is, definitely.
You just think the topic wasn't for you.
The topic wasn't for me. I'm sorry.
But did other people enjoy it?
I think half of them were probably asleep.
Conversation for another show. What makes an interesting meeting?
What makes it? That's true.
And we got to break it up because what's good for Blue Lodge may not be good for Tall Cedars and yada yada. So, and if anybody came to Grotto, they get harassed off the stage. So
now here's the thing. I went there scared to death because there was a position open for second vice president.
You're going to get sucked into the vortex.
But it's hard for people to make eye contact.
And dark glasses, Larry. Dark glasses.
Possibly first vice president.
I did not turn around whatsoever and look at anybody down at that end of the floor. And then the first vice president right now, job-wise, is his hours are increasing. And he might not be able to take on that responsibility because we meet at noon.
I would say, Larry, I think one of our general things that we all agree on is if you're going to complain about something, be ready to have a solution and step up. So why don't you jump in there and you can provide quality speakers?
No. First off, I think a lot of the times having speakers there, just to have speakers there is ridiculous.
A year from now, then I think my employer would be sympathetic if I had to go run, once a month a meeting down there. But I got to tell you, being 40, running that group, I mean, when I joined that group, I didn't even lower the average age. So I think that it's going to be a challenge if I become president of that group, trying to find relevant speakers.
Here we all are being ageists again. So, but I'm in the mix. I just have a hard time with some of it, really.
But it's a tough group by nature because it's high 12. It meets at high noon on a weekday. So you're limiting your audience to retired people and then the occasional person who has a crappy kind of like scheduled job. Like maybe you're a police officer and you're working
when I joined, I was
night shift or something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, there's not a ton of younger guys there just by working hours.
By virtue of the timing.
Yeah. But I mean, we already know from doing the Goose and Gridiron breakfast that it's a formula that works.
That's right.
But I think what works with our breakfast is we're there for the fellowship. We're not there for the speaker.
Correct. And if I was to become the president there, I think I would use that.
Did you say when?
No, I said if. I would go for the fellowship aspect of it. We don't have to have a speaker every time. We really, really don't. It's ridiculous.
I think the other part of that, though, is, it is a couples afternoon. So I think they do that to cater to the couples.
I watched the people during the speaker, his speech, and I looked around the room, and the attention value was, how shall I say, fair.
So call and leave your comments at what is it, 301 59 Mason? Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
What's the number, Larry?
Oh, God.
Let's hear that one again, Larry.
315-596-2766. I'm sitting on my wallet and the whole damn...
Oh, never do that. How's the left arm, Larry?
Left arm's fine.
Jason, dial 91.
And just sit on the last digit.
Tell me when I need to hit send, Larry.
Larry, I have a very narrow set of stairs. Do a square to the paramedic and wait till you get upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, but I look at some of these.
Larry's aorta.
Some of these older guys that are like. Here's a positive thing that I'm going to say about our senior members. A lot of those guys, they picked whatever appendant body they were into. And that's where they camped out, and that's their life. Like,
yeah. See, for me, that's Blue Lodge right now.
Yeah. I mean, I see these guys. There's some guys in Tall Cedars that are past everything, and they travel, they do all this stuff. They might be members of some other stuff, but Tall Cedars is where they spend their time. Mm-hmm. And I see other guys that are definitely Scottish Rite guys, and that's where, and the Shrine back in the day, the Shrine was a huge family thing because you had all the different units, and you could camp out there and.
Never go to Blue Lodge.
Yeah, but now I just see all of us because our Blue Lodges, for the most part, are just meetings, a business meeting. That's not so fun anymore.
It's business and mandated fun.
Yeah, unfortunately. So I don't know, but that's a 10-hour show. We could never get it answered.
That is another show. Really, it is. It's kind of sad in a way
Changes
because sometimes
in the air, baby.
People want to change the way we do things at a regular stated meeting, and there's a lot of resistance that's thrown up, and it's
change. Never heard of her.
Anyway, hey,
Larry, take us out of here. We've had enough.
Well, first off, I want to give a shout out. Really, this is really important. I want to shout out to J.H. Rathbone Museum, and you can contact them or look them up on the internet at www.jhrathbonemuseum.org. They're a museum and a library dedicated to preserving the rich history of fraternal organizations in the United States. And you can also, if you're in Lafayette, Indiana, which is probably about the middle of the state, right?
little bit northwest of whatever's in the middle of Indiana.
Yeah, so if you're going down Highway 80, you're not going to make that trip. But anyway, they're in Lafayette, Indiana. They've got a beautiful building. Stop by to see them. But it's really a worthwhile.
It's 2 hours from Pete's in-laws.
I have a lifetime membership to the Museum of Phasology. Do they have a reciprocal agreement? Because he is a museum. Seth's basement is a museum of fraternal treasures.
And it is.
The Museum of Phasology is on their letterboard.
Oh, very nice.
And Seth is on their board of directors, too, by the way.
Oh,
Of course.
of course. Why wouldn't he be?
But it's a shout out. This is a pretty good organization. And I think a lot of Seth's corpus obscurum, a lot of the information he gets
Had
from
to
their
get that in there,
library.
didn't he? Had to get that.
Corpus
yeah.
obscurum, yes, indeed.
Can we play the banjo music now?
Yeah, let's
I thought we
go.
should have already played
Oh. Oh boy! I want to give special thanks to again tonight. We are finally back at Monarch Studios. Thanks to the host of Monarch. It's great to be here. We missed it. The broadcast is a little bit more quality right now.
Lawnmower free.
Also, too, to our wonderful
lawnmower.
our wonderful producer Jason Lewis, who continues
To eat Swedish fish.
to eat Swedish fist. Swedish fish.
Are those Colorado Swedish fish?
Swedish Fist is completely different.
Oh no! Stop.
Completely different.
Did you have any of that in Masonicon?
Oh, no. Anyway, Jason, we love you. Jack Harley, our news director.
What?
R.C. McCarvey, brother on the street. And Seth Anthony for his insight into fraternities that we had no idea that existed. And again, to our grammar consultant, I am Shirley Wright. Our foreign news correspondent, incidentally, Irma Blather is going to make a guest appearance on our next show.
Do we recognize her country?
Yeah, it's England. Yeah, she's not part of Scotland. And she's still recovering from her travels, so we're going to have a nice little chat with her, and I'll be able to play that for you. And again, our recognition of our law firm, Hammer, and Boom. Well, this is Larry. Good night, or good day, or wherever you're at.
Jason.
Jack.
And Pete. Hey, bye-bye.
You said R.C. McCurvey. I choked on my fish.